Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today. I was reading several articles online that stated that many film professors are having trouble with their students finishing films that they're assigned to watch for class. Now, in an article in The Atlantic, a writer, Rose Horowitz, published a piece that stated that 20 film studies professors shared stories of students struggling to sit through films in class. Now, this was the first time I've actually heard of this happening as related to film school, and it's a quite troubling development as related to film school, because when it comes down to a filmmaker has to have a strong focus in order to tell a story in moving pictures. Unfortunately, what's happened is that over the last 25 years, many people's concentration and focus has basically shortened, and as their focus and concentration has shortened due to their attention span shrinking, what has happened is this makes it harder for a student in the medium of film to be able to concentrate in order to make sure you get the right shots for your film project. And that's a major problem, because if a person can't sit through a film in film school, they're not going to be able to go out here and be focused on the subject of the film that they're going to make. And that's going to lead to filmmakers not being able to tell compelling stories in the medium of film. Now, this problem basically, I believe, started way back in the days of the 2002 with No Child Left Behind, and with many of the Gen Z kids basically who were coming up. Basically what happened with them is that they grew up with this technology, and as they grew up with the technology of computers, what many people thought was a device that would actually help kids learn faster sadly wound up starting to destroy their attention spans, starting with the rise of social media, and it further got exacerbated with the invention of the smartphone in 2007. And as we started to see more and more kids growing up with social media and smartphones out here, yes, these devices basically made people's lives go out here and be able where they could communicate with each other. Unfortunately, when it came down to these devices, what happened is that as they wound up speeding up people's ability to get their work done, what it did also was basically destroy people's attention spans, because with each click, what they were getting was a hit of dopamine. And as they kept getting those hits of dopamine, what happened was they just basically looked to get rewarded from the clicks of the mouse on the computer or the tap of the app on the smartphone. And that basically started the foundation of destroying people's attention spans as related to overall media. And this further got exacerbated once we started to see the rise of ByteDance's TikTok here in America, because we went from the computers being out here, again, where people were getting their rewards for clicking on different links to different websites, to social media, where you got rewards for clicking on videos. And as that got worse with TikTok, what happened was people were able to see a video in under 30 seconds, and that really destroyed people's attention spans overall. And as it destroyed people's attention spans, what happened was this made it where people were not able to concentrate. And when people are not able to concentrate, they're not able to focus. And if you're not able to go out here and concentrate on things and be able to focus on things, that's going to make it just that much harder for you to be able to watch a film. Because in order to watch a film all the way through, you have to have strong focus and concentration to be able to pay attention to what's going on in that film.
And you also need that concentration so that if you're studying the film, you can study all the details in that film. And as you study the details in that film, you can see the nuanced things that are in a visual, such as the symbolism of an object, such as the whole point of focus of a shot in order to tell the story. These are skills that a filmmaker only can develop by going out here and watching films regularly. I know when I was studying screenwriting, I had to sit down and really sit down and watch those films in order to learn how story worked on film. And I had to sit there and watch films all the way through in order to get all the points that the screenwriter was presenting as related to the story they were telling. And I needed to focus on, again, these shots so that I can see how all the shots came together in a sequence in order to tell a compelling story. And that's something that was sadly many Gen Z kids are having a hard time with, because they were born in an age of technology. And as they were born in this age of technology, the way they have learned has led to them not being able to pay attention, because their world basically goes in milliseconds as related to these clicks of the mouse or the tap of the screen. What happens with these kids is that they basically are looking for things to go fast as related to a film, but that's not how film works at all. No, film basically works where you have shots that go every 7 seconds to try to tell a story overall over a course of anywhere from 90 to 180 minutes as related to the story you're trying to tell on screen. When you're trying to tell a story where you want to have a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and tell a complete story. However, when it comes down to these shorts and TikTok videos, they basically try to get everything done in less than 30 seconds. And that's not good for people, because when it destroys your attention span, destroys your concentration, and makes it where you can't really pay attention to essential details that a filmmaker needs to put in a story. Because when you're doing a film, you want to go out here and make sure that people are focused on what's on screen as related to the images that you're presenting. Whatever image you're presenting, you want people to focus on those images. You want them to see all sorts of things, because again, like I said before, there's a lot of nuance in film where you have symbolism, you have irony, and these are things that you just aren't going to pick up in even one viewing. And if you have a person who can't really focus in one viewing, they're going to miss the whole point of classic films like Diabolique, which is a film that you really have to concentrate on, or a classic film like Marty or Sunset Boulevard or The Apartment. When I sat there and watched those films, sometimes I had to watch those films 2 or 3 times just to really get what the directors were presenting. And I really had to sit down and look at all the things, because you're going to miss stuff on the first viewing. Because if you're being entertained, you're going to miss a lot of stuff. But once you start to watch a film critically, that's when you're going to start picking up on details and start to see the richer picture of the story that the filmmaker is looking to present. That's what you're going to see when the filmmaker is out here and, again, looking to present their story. And all of this is sadly being lost on the Gen Z generation, because, again, they were the generation that sadly grew up with computers, and things are so bad that many of the professors are no longer asking the kids to watch a whole film where you need a whole 2 hours or sometimes 3 hours. No, a lot of these kids are sadly tapping out in 20 minutes, and that's not really good for film, because when it comes down to film basically, it works with screenwriting. The first 10 pages are basically establishing the story of who is the main character, what they want, what obstacles they face, and why should we care. and we need to get through the movie to get to plot point 1, to the second act, to the second plot point, and then the conclusion of the film. And if you can't really get through a film because you have attention issues, then you're going to have a problem making films. You're going to have a problem being able to go out here and make a compelling movie from first frame to last, because you're going to wind up losing focus of what your story is about. You're going to start losing focus of what the visuals are supposed to be, and the story isn't going to get told because you've lost all focus. And this is a major problem because, again, when you have attention issues, because you basically have been indoctrinated through these computers, all you're thinking about is the dopamine hits, and the dopamine hits are basically, again, destroying people's minds. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of TikTok. I'm not a big fan of YouTube Shorts. I like people to have long-form content, because long-form content is something that makes you think. Long-form content requires you to focus. It requires you to go out here and be thinking critically about what you're watching. Long-form content is good for your concentration, and it's good to help you develop. And this is where we're having problems again, and it's showing how our school system has basically failed our kids, as our kids have been stuck with the Lucy Calkins guided reading. And again, these little books that they gave the kids at an early age just were also a part of destroying their attention span, along with the computers, the tablets, and the smartphones. Again, people have been dumbed down, and again, dumbed down because they really can't really focus. And this is starting to be a problem, because if you can't focus on what you're seeing on the chalkboard in school, you're not going to be able to focus on screen. And if you're basically constantly distracted, like they say many Gen Z kids are, who are in film school, and they're basically, again, just on their phones all the time because they just can't really focus on anything, then we really are in trouble as related to the medium of film and the stories that may get told in the future. Now, if you want to check out my screenplay book that I wrote in 2007 and published in 2009, All About Marilyn, which details the story of a faded 90s teen sitcom star, you can get that screenplay on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, and you can get the companion TV series book All About Nikki's fabulous first season on Amazon.com as well in paperback and Kindle format. And you can also pick up many of my other books on the SJS Direct imprint. You can find those books in the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, and the Spinsterella series. You can find all those books on Amazon.com and other online booksellers like Barnes & Noble, Google Play, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me talk about the entertainment industry and the issues in the entertainment industry that I've been studying for over 25 years, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, All About Nikki, a fabulous first season. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meets Clueless in this absolutely fabulous African-American 1990s teen sitcom. Get all 13 episodes of All About Nikki, the fabulous first season, in paperback and e-readers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.